Listening to Party 93.4, and this morning we've been talking with Jennifer Austin Leigh of drjenforgirls.com. And so I was wondering if you could tell us just a little bit of tips, maybe for the moms, maybe for the girls, about how to help them get more into the loved category.
To get more into the loved category, yeah, we want them to avoid just another L word. Oh gosh, well the book is just chock full of things. Basically, you know, it starts with, as you and I just have already talked about, learning your old wounds and getting more self-respect for yourself. Because when girls have that, then they show respect to other people. And that's one of the key things guys are saying is, girls, you've got to show me respect. Now, that doesn't mean he's saying you've got to do what I want you to do and be my little sex puppet. Don't take that phrase wrong. It really means you've got to show me some respect. So girls need to beef up their listening skills. We aren't taught listening by reading, writing, language, and listening. And we don't do a good job of listening. We interrupt, we steal the conversation, we give unasked for advice. There's just so many ways that we don't listen well. And girls who know how to listen well, guys automatically feel respected and have a lot of respect for that girl. Girls need to build up their trust account with guys. And now there's so many ways to destroy someone's trust. We need a handbook out there how to deal with the new electronics and technology. Like, if I text my old boyfriend, am I cheating on my current boyfriend? Well, guys have a lot to say about that, and I wrote down a whole bunch of different scenarios that guys say, yes, girls, when you do this on Facebook or MySpace or Twitter or your cell phone, I feel like you're cheating on me.
Wow.
So girls need a big heads up on what now constitutes cheating. And, you know, when you and I were growing up, it was pretty cut and dry.
Pretty clear whether it was or wasn't, yes.
Yeah, now the boundaries are really fuzzy, and I'm always encouraging girls, when you go into a relationship, sit down and between you and your guy and iron out all the game rules. What are you guys going to live by? And then stick to it. Then guys tell girls, if you really want me to love you and have more respect for you, you need to not be a drama queen or a spotlight girl. Knock off the gossiping. Stop leaving horrible messages to other girls on Facebook or MySpace. The girls take their fights public now. I mean, the stuff that goes back and forth on Facebook sometimes is so heartbreaking, or the nasty text messages. I mean, girls are becoming big cyber bullies, and the guys don't like that. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Don't sell yourself short, which has a lot to do with what guys are talking about. Fashion, and then also all the sexual promiscuity and how sexually aggressive girls are. They really don't like the girls that are out collecting V cards. There's a new trend. It's a subcultural trend. Certainly not all girls are doing it.
What's a V card? Yeah, help me out here. What's a V card?
V card means virginity. So there are some girls that, for fun, relieve a boy of his virginity so they can go tell their girlfriend, I've now had sex with 4 virgins or 5 virgins, and it's called collecting V cards.
Oh my.
And lots of guys might be happy to be relieved of their virginity, but 28 to 30% of the guys I interviewed were devastated.
Well, that's sexual abuse.
Exactly. But we're not talking about it in our culture. I mean, we don't talk about male virginity. And the movies that we have out there, American Pie, Sex Drive, those two come to mind, they all portray virgins as geeky nerds that are just desperately need to get rid of this thing, when in fact, not all boys feel that way.
Well,
biologically, yes, they might want to,
right, but emotionally they may not be prepared for it, and there's no reason to feel shame about that. Because we all develop at different stages. I mean, some boys are ready for it earlier, and some are later, and girls too. I mean, and it's just not respectful to see that we all have our own pace with these things.
Exactly, and some boys actually have a sense of romance, but our culture reduces them down to simply their plumbing.
Right.
And so the guys had a lot to say about male virginity,
which is so traumatizing.
We don't talk about.
That's so abusive to the guys. And, that's one of my issues too. I feel a lot of strong things about the way fathers will sometimes encourage their young sons to be sexual before they're really emotionally ready, and that's a really important thing for these guys to understand, that's just as abusive as encouraging a young girl to do it.
Oh, yeah. And I talked to a father, in fact, my story's in the book. He had 2 young teen boys, and I was telling him about the research about guys and the virginity. And he looked at me and he said, Dr. Jen, you go back and interview all those boys that whined about losing their virginity to the wrong girl, and you'll find out that they're all gay.
Oh my gosh.
I was shocked. And I said, that mentality is why young boys can't talk about virginity.
Right.
Because you've already got this stereotype that a guy who has an emotional attachment to his virginity is gay. You've already oh, it's just horrible.
That's criminal. It's just criminal.
I know. I get emotional about it.
Yes, I have the same reaction. Thank you very much. It sounds like you and I have a whole lot in common in the way we perceive thing. I just think that's great.
Well, I've got three boys, and when I started researching this book, I had gone over the safe sex talk with my twin boys. My other boy was older, and I started having a much different talk about their first sexual encounter. It wasn't just safe sex, and if she says no, it means no, and just all the traditional stuff. I sat down with one day and said, I've never ever talked to you about your heart and your emotions regarding this. I was in the same boat most parents are. I just assumed the stereotype that the guys were different. And I had a much different talk with them. And I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to have my eyes and heart opened on this topic so that I could share that with my twin boys. And I wish more parents, will take that route and talk to their boys about, their first time in a much different manner. And sometimes parents don't even have the talk with their boys. They have it with their girls because we value female virginity.
Right.
But they need to be talking to their boys. Our boys are human beings too.
Right, with emotional development issues and physiological development issues, just like anybody else. Just like the rest of it. We're so much more alike than we are different, and yet we act as though that weren't the case, and that's really harmful to these boys.
Hi, Melody. Are you there?
It is, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to write this book from a guy's standpoint. This book, when girls read it, they love it that it's coming from the guys. It's not Dr. Jen. I mean, certainly I put my 2 cents in there, but it's not from their parents. It's not from a teacher. I'm really honoring the teen boys and saying, here, I'm going to give you a voice. You get to tell girls what you really want to say. And the girls are really receptive to that. Both the girls and the guys need a voice. But to my knowledge, this is the first book where guys really get to roll up their sleeves and say, thanks for, looking at us as real human beings.
Right.
And that we really get to share stuff that's in our heart and soul.
Well, bless you for all the work that you do. And I'm just so glad that you're out there working with these young people, not just girls, but their families, and even helping the guys in the way that you are. I mean, it's funny because you say it's Dr. Jen for girls, but I'm hearing it being just as much for the guys and for the families. So,
well, thank you. I'm very passionate about what I do. I wake up every morning very, very fulfilled with a very full plate. It's there's a lot to be done.
Hi, Melody. Are you there?
And I'm taking a few baby steps along the way to hopefully change our culture a bit. And I really love doing my Dr. Jen pajama parties.
Well, that's awesome, and I appreciate you being with us this hour. Thanks for listening in. I'm mixologist Melody Brooke, and this is Oh Wow, This Changes Everything, brought to you live on Party 93.4 and 102.5 FM in the New York City area. Tune in next week. We'll be having, would you believe, the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Alex McCord and Simone Van Kempen. We'll talk about their experience